think about agriculture in Alberta, you probably think about farms and ranches. Let's talk 7K Ranch. Their mission is to reinvent the ranch. With like-minded partners, they teamed up to create an event space and educational opportunities, dusting off old traditions to create some new ones. It's not just about where your food comes from. It's about your connection to the land, your connection to each other, and the community.
I think it's a grounding. I think it's a sense of knowing where you're from, knowing where your food comes from. It feeds you, feeds the soul. My name's Deb Komeyer, and myself and my husband, Michael Komeyer, own 7K Ranch. I'm in charge of client experience, and Michael has the vision for 7K in terms of connecting people back to the land. Mike's family bought the ranch in the 60s, which is where the 7K came from, the 7 Komeyers.
You know, I think consumers have an appetite that are looking for an array of products.
I think Mike is the classic entrepreneur. He's got enthusiasm, and he has a great ranching history. Deb brings the understanding of how to take it to a consumer, how to really take that 7K brand and turn it into something that is really understandable by the consumer.
In order to make a ranch profitable, you have to be unique. It's not easy. The uniqueness of the Longhorn is what sort of really got things to lift in terms of being able to take something to market. But we also want to have that element of being able to host people here to also appreciate good food. So the idea of agritourism and reinventing what was old, but bringing it to a new space or a new redesign of the barn. We weren't seeing very much of that happening, certainly in southern Alberta. As an entrepreneur, you need to have that ability to take a risk, and you have the idea and not to be afraid to try to make it happen. So we did a small fundraiser for 100 people about 5 years ago, and started to renovate the space to accommodate the idea of bringing people back, getting people around the table and enjoying good food. And it just worked, and everybody supported it and wanted to be around the tables in that barn, which was very rustic, that first dinner. That's how it started. We were starting to have relationships with a couple of the restaurants in Calgary, a couple chefs who were appreciating what we were doing at the ranch in terms of our produce and the Longhorn and the idea around the beef.
So I think the relationship between restaurateurs and 7K really blossomed because they could trace it and they could shake the hand of the farmer that actually produced it. And that is ultimately what makes it very special.
Our partnership with Eau Claire Distillery started as a friendship with other like-minded business people.
We all live within the sort of food producer industry in some ways. We produce, of course, spirits, but they're in the ranching business and producing wonderful beef. So I think our consumers are the same, and we've collaborated on a lot of different events.
There's lots that's got me off guard. It's ever-changing. You have an idea, and you think you're taking the next step, but it takes you off in a different direction. But it's coming back to a little bit of what you thought the big picture was, but the steps to get there are always changing. There's such a passion to it, but at the same time, you have to be very practical about what's going to work.
Oh, those rays are perfect.
Mike and Deb are clearly visionaries. They are living fairly close to Calgary on a historic ranch, and they're looking for a path that makes sense for those smaller farms. People are going to look back and say, wow, those guys actually were ahead of their time.
We just have to go for it. I know we've got a really great team. I know we can make it grow. Feels like we're all part of a family.
Deb and Mike took a leap. They trusted their idea with the goal to get it right. Reinvention doesn't mean disregarding your past. In fact, it means looking at your heritage in a new lens. With the community supporters, they honored their past to build a new future and diversify it in a meaningful way, connecting people and ideas.